Coming up next is DC News number. It's a Creative Differences episode of DC News, and in it we're going to talk about G.I. Combat, a brand new book coming from DC Comics. Also, we're going to talk about Amy Reeder and how she's not attached to Batwoman anymore, and we're going to talk about David, how's it go? Mazzucchelli, and how he's so upset with the upcoming deluxe edition of Batman Year One. All that and more coming right up. Hey, how was it?
Mediocre best.
When DC Comic Books does something, Bo just can't wait to tell you. Squealer.
My doctor told me I needed to howl more. Hoo! DC News, the last episode, Bubble Immunity.
Hey folks, Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video outhouse. It's time for
DC News.
DC
And guess
News.
what? Another installment of Creative Differences.
Yes, Creative Differences,
We'll
and it's
never
coming.
stop.
It's coming to you from this place, Alternate Reality, which is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, where all my new comics, including all my DC comics, are always 15% off every day for everyone.
That's better than regular reality.
Better than regular reality. We're going to start off with a non-creative differences story because our last two stories are the creative difference that we're talking about here. But this one isn't, but we're going to sneak it in first. The new G.I. Combat series is going to be debuting May.
Replacement for Men at War, which is actually Men at War is right here.
Yes, it is. Men of War is
There's
right
one
here.
more issue left after this. It'll be replaced by G.I. Comics.
And then it'll be dead.
Why?
Where it belongs. Nobody's buying a damn thing.
But it's being done by the War the Time Forgot team of...
Well, no. They're going to have 3 features in this. Now, DC's only announced 2 of them. You can have The War That Time Forgot. This is going to be written by J.T. Kroll, drawn by Ariel Olivetti, who is still under a Marvel exclusive contract.
Didn't they work on the last War the Time Forgot series?
No, that was from a creative team that nobody really gives a crap about. In fact, I got those and I have them all collected, and
Their
I still
moms love
can't.
'em.
I still can't think about reading the damn things.
Well, think about it.
So, and The Haunted Take by John Arcudi. Now, The War of the Time Forgot is actually easy. It's going to have modern day soldiers fighting dinosaurs, and we're going to find out why these dinosaurs still exist.
Okay.
And The Haunted Tank, and actually I just reread the last Haunted Tank limited series this morning, to be honest.
What, the Vertigo one?
Yeah.
Okay.
This will be set in Afghanistan, where a sergeant named Cruces is the only one who can actually see the Ghost and his tank crew. And the Ghost this time around is going to be a jerk.
Okay, so they're not using the same people who were in the last Haunted
No,
Tank series.
no.
The same soldiers, I mean.
No, same. No, because in the Haunted Tank thing, he was a Civil War guy,
Yeah.
and in this one, I don't think he's going to be a
Well,
Civil War guy.
the last one was in Iraq, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That's
and
what's
yeah,
in
we
Iraq.
get an Iraqi guy. Yeah, you guys in Iraq, and the Civil War guy shows up. This guy, I don't think he's gonna be a Civil War guy, but he's gonna be a prick.
A prick? A dick?
Yeah.
A
And,
schwanz?
and only one of the guys can see him, which is of course gonna be more fun because if only one sees him, then you wonder maybe he's just crazy.
Could be. Moving on to our creative differences part of this creative difference episode.
Yes, I was creative and he was different.
Yes, creative is different. Batwoman, the series that they just brought back for the new 52,
Just brought back for the new 52.
is getting a creative change.
Well, the plan was for J.H. Williams III to do an arc and then Amy Reeder to come in and do an arc. But apparently Amy Reeder's experience over in DC wasn't the most pleasant, and so
That
DC
seems to be a common problem.
Yes, and apparently it was an editorial thing. So Reader's only going to draw a couple issues, and Trevor McCarthy's going to draw issues 9 through 11. So,
Okay.
the cool thing about a book called Batwoman
Batwoman.
is it would be nice if there was actually a female creator working somewhere on it. You had Amy Reeder as the backup artist,
Yeah.
and then DC editorial went out of their way to just annoy the crap out of her.
Well, that gets back to the whole new 52 thing when they first started up, that where were all the female
Yeah, where the
creators
women
at
at. Right.
on these female books you're doing. I mean, you're doing Voodoo, you're doing Batwoman, you're doing Batgirl.
They're all written by guys.
Supergirl.
And drawn by guys.
And you had all these
and
guys
colored
working
by
on these
guys.
books.
And lettered by guys.
Has Wonder Woman ever had a female creator?
Wonder
on
Woman.
it?
Oh,
Yeah,
Gail Simone.
Gail Simone.
Gail
Oh,
Simone
she
had a
has.
long. She had a long.
She had
run
a
on
very
it.
long run, about 3-4 years.
Well
That's pretty good.
received. Pretty well received.
Well received, but being a Wonder Woman book, it did sell.
Well, critically well received, yeah, but
Yeah.
the numbers never really went anywhere. But there's nothing wrong with the book. It's just Wonder Woman's a hard sell.
I mean, George Perez is on the book, and George, and he couldn't sell it either.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
What
he just did the first issue.
Yeah, well, so no.
But he
wrote.
wrote.
He
both
wrote
them.
most.
He
of
wasn't
them.
drawing.
He didn't do much.
He
of
drew the
art.
covers and he drew
Yeah.
the first issue.
I guess what I'm asking is, could you tell a woman was writing the book?
No.
Sort of. Well, Gail Simone
Well-
writes superhero comics, so she's got to write a lot of guy characters.
The problem with one of the biggest problems with Wonder Woman is the fact that she doesn't have a lot of villains that people care about. Nobody cares about Egg Fu.
Well, they always try to.
Right.
They've
She
always
is the only
tried.
villain that's actually consistently been a Major League Wonder Woman villain.
Well, they've always
You
tried
can't
to.
fight her every year.
They've always tried to expand her rogues gallery. I mean, there's Cersei.
Yeah.
There's Cheetah, like you were talking about. They keep trying to bring back Dr. Psycho and doing something with Dr. Psycho.
Artemis was a villain for a while. But yeah, it just never really worked.
Well, I guess my point is, if you're locked in a format, a dog could be writing it, and you're still stuck with the same.
Well, the new Wonder Woman we have now knows how to use 2 Desert Eagles and blow your head off without thinking twice. So there you go.
But those are Ares' guns. So I'm like, why would Ares need guns?
The
Why
Punisher.
not? Why wouldn't Ares? Well,
Yeah.
Marvel's Ares had guns, so what the hell?
Marvel's Ares, he came to the world. He had a big sword around his back, and he was a modern day guy, and he was evil and more interesting than the villains in Wonder Woman.
Anyway, meanwhile, moving on, David
Mazzucchelli.
You're always so good with those Italian names.
He's been around a long time.
He's one of my favorite creators.
Good Batman.
He's the man that drew Batman Year One, of course. Batman Year One is coming back as a deluxe edition
This week.
As
It's shipping this week.
It's shipping this week as we write this, and DC put a lot of work into it that David just doesn't appreciate at all. Why doesn't he appreciate all the work DC put into that book?
They came to him a couple years ago and asked him if he had any ideas because they wanted to do the reprint. This is well before they even thought about the DVD and the animated thing.
Yeah.
And so he said he wanted to do it. So he came to them with a whole bunch of ideas, none of which they used. He gave him a new cover. They redesigned the cover.
Yeah.
They recolored his art from what he says are the worst digital files that DC had that they could have used, which completely and totally screwed up the coloring and everything else. They also printed the book on shiny paper, which didn't. If you read Batman Year One, it was a regular paper would have been fine. This is like this glossy stuff, which completely takes away from the entire atmosphere.
Yeah, the
of
mood
thing.
is very dark.
The mood's really gone, and so his attitude was. He gave them a better version. He came up with a better plan. He also was like, well, they sort of sprung this on me at the last minute. Oh, we're doing this. And he went, you are? It's just like, why wouldn't you talk to him first before you do something like this? So his changes are ignored. Now, he actually has went out of his way to the comic store by saying, if you buy it, just go back to DC and send it back. Because you've had this, there's some issues going on with DC's entire trade thing. Absolute
Well,
edition,
they're not doing nearly as many as they used to.
but there was an absolute edition which I guess had words changed.
Yeah.
There was some where the binding on these books fell apart. Which I guess
Yeah.
people have been posted on YouTube. They're opening up the book and the pages are falling out.
I haven't had anybody return anything at the store, but my big issue with DC and their trades has been for the last year or so. They're not producing nearly as many trades as they did 3 years ago, and Marvel consistently outproduces them in trade paperbacks on a week to week to week to week basis.
Well, yeah,
I mean, this week, go ahead and keep talking.
Four.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Four
7, 8, 9,
DCs and
9,
Marvel's
10.
got.
There's like 10 or 11 Marvel trades, and there's 4 DC trades this week, and that's a typical week.
But see, Marvel's attitude before was the fact that Marvel wasn't paying any attention to their trades at all.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, why don't we push this a little more? DC's got a lot of stuff available, but they're just not working there. They're not really working hard on putting the trades out.
Over the last 10 years, DC and Marvel have done a total flip in the amount of output they have with trade paperbacks. DC used to way outstrip Marvel about 10 years ago with the number of trades. DC would have like 10 trades a week out, and Marvel only do a couple of them. That's totally flipped. Now Marvel puts out tons of trades every week, relatively speaking, and DC hardly any.
I mean, 8-4, and let me see. You got like about 3 or 4. You got like Image books.
Yeah.
Image's trade output this week is almost as big as DC's.
Yeah. So anyway, he's not happy with the Batman Year One that's coming out. So keep that in mind when you're coming out to buy it. And that's it. We're done. We're done. Finished. We're out of here. We got no more DC news, but you go to the store's website. Check out all the DC news that this man posts.
Yes.
For me and that I put up. And where's the store's website?
I can tell you where it is. www.myalternatereality.com.
Is that where it is?
Like a pro. So stop over to the store's website. Check out all of his news that she just told us so wonderfully. And until next time, this is Comic Book Man.
And this is Bo.
And who the hell are you?
Sarah.
Oh, Sarah. Saying...
Toodles.
Bye.
Alternate Reality now opens at 10:30 instead of 11 on Sundays. There's like half an hour sleep over this. Means you guys better show up.
The Video Outhouse is brought to you by some of the finest people willing to work for free. This is a list of some of them.